Anyway, love y'all. I hope you have a beautiful day. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Or sleep in. Or stay in bed all damn day today. It's Sunday, right? Love y'all. Peace.
You know, and we all have our 15 minutes of fame, and I'd like to take a couple of my 15 minutes to talk about the rights and the wrongs in the world of professional wrestling.
WWE Championship.
This match is for the ECW World Heavyweight Championship.
The World Heavyweight Championship.
The match and new NWA Heavyweight Champion of the world.
We appreciate you guys coming out and taking your time to support women's wrestling in America.
This match is for the AWA World Heavyweight Wrestling Championship.
By the time you're listening to this, you should already have known, heard, read about the passing of Joanie Laurer, Chyna doll, Chyna, as she was best known in WWE. This being the Women's Pro Wrestling Network, of course, that is something that we would definitely talk about. As I put on the Facebook page, I was hesitant to post it at all because first off, when we get the news of someone passing in the business, at first you don't want to really believe that. I was kind of hoping that it was a hoax or something like that. As at the time when I got it, it was early morning. And no other legitimate news source had confirmed that at the time. But then slowly but surely, you had your TMZs and CNNs and various other news outlets, mainstream media news outlets that were jumping on the story, and it was found to be true. So rather than go into the bulk of the later ends, I'm just going to try to make this quick because I don't feel, I could possibly endorse or, do work on a channel such as this and not talk about one of the trailblazers that really the industry has had. And I know there are those that were questionable about her work rate or her ability in the ring and things like that. And so, that's a debate for another time. We won't go into that line, but we'll talk about the things that, of course, she did bring to the game, so to speak. That being, she was a new mold, and by Chyna, she was the essentially the first of her kind. I mean, there were other power women, we'll say, that took place in wrestling. Just for those who want to look it up, you can go back and kind of check out. I think it's Big Bad Mama. Go to Mid-South. Go back and check out Mid-South. I'll probably post up the annotation or put up something on Facebook to reinforce what I'm saying, because I don't have my my note for this particular woman in front of me right now as I'm just talking. But within modern terms, we'll say, from the late 90s up until now, when you see the muscular-framed woman coming to the business, you basically can thank Chyna for that. She was the first to do it when she was attached with Hunter Hearst Helmsley at the time, who later became Triple H. Of course, he was transitioning through different bodyguards or seconds. When he first entered into wrestling, his gimmick was he came out with a different beautiful woman every night. Those were his valets. Once those kind of transitioned out, he was seconded by Mr. Perfect, somebody who looked at his equal. That didn't last too long. He got Mr. Hughes. I think that might have lasted about a month and a half, possibly two. Something that not very long. But when he attached himself to Chyna, that was when the marriage, if you will, maybe a poor choice of words right there, but That was when the partnership between the two of them really clicked and really made him a star, and by proxy made her a star. She was the one woman in the industry who stood out there and made people believe that she could legitimately beat up a guy. And I know for people that hadn't seen her or hadn't been around during that time, that you would probably kind of find that hard to believe, but it's the truth. She made people believe in that audience that she could legitimately just toss a man around, beat him up, and that she was a bad woman, and as tough as any guy on that roster. Of course, there was an evolution that she had, and we've all seen that evolution that she went through. She had the reconstructive jaw surgery, had some cosmetic surgery done and whatnot. And before you know it, as she transitioned through various storylines and things of that nature, being the first woman to be the Intercontinental Champion, co-champion with Chris Jericho, entering the Royal Rumble, first woman to do that, winning their own little personal Royal Rumble on Raw between the Corporation and DX. She was the winner of that thing, being legitimately looked at as a contender for the a number one contender for the WWE Championship when it was still up in the air storyline wise, or who was going to go in and challenge Stone Cold for the title. It was her, or it was going to be Triple H. And for a while they left it up in the air. That people thought, oh man, Chyna won this slot, she's going to go. So she had a lot of stuff that was kind of tacked onto her. Being the Playboy cover girl, that was another one. And I'm sure something along those lines where at the height of the Attitude Era, the Monday Night Wars, and you got a Playboy cover model, you have been picked out, when people around her were more Model-esque, like the Sables of the world and the Sunnies and so on and so forth. And she got the spot. That had to have been a big deal. It was a big deal just to get on the cover at that time, because Playboy was still a viable, strong powerhouse medium. But I'm sure for her personally, that had to have been a huge deal. I mean, it was looked at as one of the ideals of physical beauty. And here she was on it. Somebody who a couple of years prior were getting chances. She's a man. And all of that turned around. The WWE, WWF at the time, gave Chyna some of the best years of her life. From her mouth, if you go to her YouTube channel, and I think it's still active. I don't believe they're taking it down. She had a video where she was posting, she tried to make amends to the WWF, WWE, and Triple H and Vince. She said, those were the best years of my life. And I am hard pressed to disagree with that. It is one of the things that makes the WWE a double-edged sword for a lot of people, in that there's no other place to go. She was a wrestler that started at the top. She didn't really work through the territories. She didn't come up in independence and stuff like that. Not the way that you see people do it today. I'll say, let's say AJ Styles as an example. AJ Styles went through exactly what I just said. I mean, when I first saw him, it was here in Atlanta, airing on NWA Wild Side. That's the first time I saw AJ Styles. He got WCW briefly, and then he, went right back to the Indies. I saw him on WWA4 promotion out of Australia. And then he got TNA, and I think he still worked a couple of, Ring of Honor. I forgot Ring of Honor. Then he got TNA, and he kind of worked a couple of independents here and there. Went back to the independents after his run in TNA was over. I mean, he had a long, long road before he got to WWE. Chyna basically started there. Where do you go from the WWE from that point? And not just that, but she kind of had that unceremoniously taken. It wasn't as if it was just a matter of, this guy that I'm in love with, who I think I'm going to spend the rest of my days with, and I'm going to get married and have children. It's not just that he found another love. He found another love with somebody that she could not compete with. The boss's daughter, what was she going to do? She wasn't going to go out there and beat her up. I can't stay here and work for you. And, if when you read about Chyna, that incident such as that only compounds with her, her early years, where she talked about having problems with the family, not being, good at being sexually abused, and, being, I don't want to say made fun of, but, when she got to the public eye, she was pretty much made fun of for having a masculine look. And she went through a lot to change that, to try to be accepted. And that's really the tone of a lot of what this is, outside of her untimely passing. A lot of this is a story of trying to be accepted. Chyna, I'm no psychiatrist. I don't want to claim to be, but Chyna wanted to be accepted. She clearly wanted to be loved by the fans, by the people, and when you get on a video and you say those were the best years of my life, when you say that and you can't find a way back to that, I mean, that's the natural thing that people do is they try to find some way to fill the void. Some out there are always going to linger on to the fact that she, went into porn. And then, yeah, there's another story in that, and I won't go too far into that aspect of her life and career, other than to say that it is another means of trying to find some love. Even if it's a false love, you want to have that for some period of time, somehow, some way. She was looking for it, wherever she could, and she tried to get herself back together. She tried to get it straight. She put a public plea out for the WWE. She wanted to be in the Hall of Fame. And personally, I think that just based on what I mentioned in this this blog alone, she deserves it. She was a groundbreaker. She was a trailblazer. Without her, there wouldn't have been an Asia in WCW, who clearly was modeled after Chyna. There wouldn't have been a Midnight, who was clearly modeled after Chyna. America Strong, who I've had the opportunity to talk to, meet, get her videos up on our YouTube channel. And, she is also built out of the mold of Chyna. I'm not saying that they purposely, hey, I'm going to get strong so that I can be just like her. No. But I'm saying that having a Chyna in the wrestling industry opened the doors for those ladies to have a spot, a career within the wrestling industry. And, her being the first will always open up the door for those who come behind her and, are going to position themselves as the strong powerhouse bodybuilder type woman. But in either case, the ultimate thing here is that what she wanted, a WWE Hall of Fame induction, and I sincerely doubt that she cared whether she got inducted into, say, the Cauliflower Alley Club or NWA Hall of Fame, the various wrestling Hall of Fames that exist around the country. She probably could have got inducted into all of them, and it wouldn't have meant as much as going into a WWE Hall of Fame. That's where she spent her career. That's the biggest name in the land. That's where she wanted to go. And, you heard Hunter on the Stone Cold podcast give his reasons why. And I respect his reasons, even if I don't agree with them, particularly when you have a Sonny in there who's basically every reason that he gave for having Chyna not in the Hall of Fame is every reason that she should be pulled out of it. But that I doubt they'll ever do that. That being said, 2 years from now, Chyna will probably be in the Hall of Fame. She's passed away. She's gone. Whatever resistance that the WWE may have had to letting her be in the Hall of Fame before now, that's gonna go away. It's gonna go away. I don't expect to see them drop her in the next year, although it wouldn't surprise me if they do. 2 years. 2 years is my bet for when they decide, hey, she's going into the Hall of Fame. The sad part is that she will not be there to see it. She won't be there to thank the fans that supported her. She won't be there to, give props to the people that never turned their back on her or and believed in her and, appreciated what she did. She was not the most technically sound professional wrestler out there, but she did not have to be. It was not something that was a necessity in order for her to be famous or be popular or be successful in the industry. And it's just really sad that she just did not get the chance to hear it. There was an outpouring of love that came behind her death. And it's forget the Hall of Fame. It's a shame that she didn't get the chance to see that people cared as much as they do, and as much as they've shown in the last couple of days. And I another thing I wish, a little side note, or I guess a bit of random trivia, if you want to call it that. A lot of people don't do well once they leave the WWE, and again, that goes back to the earlier statement that the WWE is a bit of a double-edged sword. You fight your whole life to get in there, but then when you get out, unless you're a really put together person, because some people are pretty good and when they leave, but unless you're a put together person and you have other avenues and other interests in your life, like what do you do? What am I going to do? How am I going to exist? Now, she probably went into WWE when she was in her mid-20s. She had the entire second half of her life to kind of live without any real idea of what to do next. But the random trivia that I had is, because during the Attitude Era, one of the things that were getting offered to a lot of them, a lot of the performers, a lot of the wrestlers were TV spots, movie spots, things like that. Chyna was a semi-regular on the NBC television show 30 Rock, so she had acting experience. I think she did a couple of TV movies. Of course, she did some movies later, but the biggest profile movie that had been offered to her was Terminator 3: Rise of the Machines. Well, I shouldn't say offered. The more accurate term is that the star of the movie suggested that she be the new Terminator. When they were looking to have a female Terminator lead, Chyna was the one that Arnold Schwarzenegger suggested. And I can only imagine what could have happened for her, had she had the opportunity to play that role in a movie that may have been successful or could have potentially driven her career in a different path. But as it was, that didn't happen, and it is what it is. I just thought that was a little interesting bit of trivia. I'm also a bit of a movie guy, but I wish that she could have gotten that chance, that opportunity to do something else, that she could have been respected for, to do something else that she possibly could have done well at. And, have a new career path that wouldn't have been in the shadow of the WWE. Because as long as there was something that she was going after that just didn't equate to her years of being a star on top of the world in the WWE universe, it was just never going to be the same. But that's that. My condolences to the family. The WPN, the Women's Pro Wrestling Network, gives the condolences in total to the family. I know a documentary was being done. She was shooting that in the last couple of months. Even I think when they went to the WWE headquarters, and she tried to secure a meeting. I think they were shooting that. They were shooting the phone calls, showing that she was trying to get a return call from them. I think she was like on the blocked list or something like that, which is horrible. But needless to say, there's two things I expect out of WWE now. One, Monday night on Raw. As I'm recording this, it hasn't happened yet. But I expect to see some sort of package and some sort of tribute to Chyna and what she meant to them and whatnot. And two, yes, I do believe she's going in the Hall of Fame. I'm just sad that she won't be there to witness that. So that's that. Rest in peace, Chyna. Sorry that it did not end the way we all would have liked, but I think she deserved a little bit better. But clearly the amount of people that have shown their love and their care for everything that she's meant, whether that be posting on Twitter, Facebook, whatever your form of social media has been, seeing some magnificent tributes that people have put together, artwork, fan work, comments, and things like that. It only shows the impact that she had. It was profound. It was huge, and she certainly was one of a kind. So that's it, folks. Make sure that you check out our other channels and venues, and follow us on Facebook, Twitter. You can follow us at WPN Wrestling on Twitter. You can go to Women's Pro Wrestling Network on Facebook. Of course, Women's Pro Wrestling Network on YouTube. And go stop by our website, WPNWrestling.com, for future updates, future matches, future podcasts, and merchandise, which hopefully is coming soon. And that was it. I hate to, end on a somber note. I mean, but there's no real way to transition out of that, effectively. So I would just say, be well to each other, and we will see you on the next show.